Welcome, everybody, to today's Different Gaming News. What's on the news today? Xbox Series X and S. Sales have collapsed in Europe. Surprise, surprise. All right, before we jump into this, make sure you hit like and share and subscribe it and all that good stuff. And let's roll to the story. All right, Microsoft, according to fresh data reported by GI Biz, Sony's PlayStation 5 is comfortably number one in Europe, with sales up an incredible 143% over October of last year. So, the near 7-year-old Nintendo Switch is second, despite a 20% drop in sales year on year. But it's been out 7 years, so that's a given. But the Series X and S have seen a whopping 52% drop in sales. Month-on-month comparisons are tough for Xbox, PlayStation 5, and sales are up 11% compared to September. Switch sales are up 10%, and Xbox sales are just under 20%. Now, here's the kicker for me. Xbox's big exclusive Starfield launched in September. PlayStation, Spider-Man 2, and Nintendo Switch, Nintendo's Super Mario Bros. Wonder, both released in October, and both games have broken sales records. Starfield has not. Starfield has really not. Now, keep in mind, though, Starfield was a Game Pass game, so I don't know how the metrics work for Game Pass. Downloads, things like that, because you can't just count the downloads, because I download lots of crap and I never play them because I just don't get time. So, but the deal is, so Microsoft is falling down really hard with this generation of consoles. And according to this, they're really getting their sack handed to them in Europe. So, I'd like to think we're fair. I mean, we're both Sony fans. We're both Xbox fans. And I think we have a pretty good idea why the Xbox Series X and S are having issues in Europe. So, Nick, I will let you fire it away first on why do you think the Series S and X are bombing?
There's nothing to play on them. That's why. They have no exclusives, right? It's one thing that the games come out on Xbox and PC, right? And I think that would be fine. I think that would be fine overall. I think the main reason is because we don't have anything. There's nothing to play on them, right? There's nothing to play on an Xbox. Starfield was like the only thing we've gotten. Before that, it was Halo Infinite, which didn't do very well.
Hi-Fi Rush came out after Infinite. It did pretty good for what it was. So
right,
but yeah, you're absolutely right there. Halo Infinite would have been the next big one. No.
Big system seller.
Redfall was supposed to be a big one.
Yeah.
It was a big one, all right.
Yeah, it was a big turd. Big old sloppy turd. That's what that one was. Yeah.
We call it a two-flesher.
The Hi-Fi Rush is a good game, but again, it's not a system seller. It's not a system mover, right? Halo Infinite could have been, Starfield could have been, but they just didn't. I think Starfield probably did. Well, maybe has done better than Halo Infinite. I'm not 100% sure on that, but they're just, Sony, when they come out with a title, we talked about this before, but when they come out with a title like Spider-Man 2 that just released, people know it's a good title, and they can only get it on the PlayStation, right? You can't buy it on the PC, you can't buy it on the Switch, you can't get it on the Xbox. You have to have a PlayStation 5 if you want to play this. Now with Xbox, you don't, right? You can have all their games come to Xbox and PC. If you have a decent enough PC, you really don't have a need to have an Xbox. You really don't, right? Unless you want that plug and play. Like I have a good PC, but I still play games on my Xbox that come out on Game Pass and stuff, and that's mainly because for a couple reasons. Like one, if it's a game that I'm going to play with a controller, then I'm going to play it on my Xbox. Two, I can sit in my this is a nice comfy chair, but I have another nice comfy chair that's in front of my 65-inch OLED television that I could sit there and play my games on. It's not as big as my, that's much bigger than my computer monitor. My computer monitor does 1440. It doesn't do 4K. It doesn't do 100. Well, it does 144 hertz, but my TV does 120 hertz. It's HDR. It's 4K. It's OLED. It's nice. So I'm going to sit down there and play something on there, especially if I'm going to play with the controller. So for me, it's still convenient to have something like that. But if I wasn't into that type of thing and just had like a regular old, TV and stuff like that, then you wouldn't have a need to have, and you had a decent PC, you wouldn't have a need to have an Xbox. And that's one of the problems there. The other problem is, again, there's nothing to play on Xbox. Most of the stuff that comes out on Xbox, besides their first party titles, have been multi-platform. And if you have a PlayStation, let's say that's the only console you have, well, you can play 99% of the games that are on Xbox on your PlayStation, right? Or on your gaming PC, if that's what you have. It's only that 1% that, if you don't have a gaming PC that you would need an Xbox for, and that 1% ain't worth a damn right now. Starfield, even though Starfield was a pretty good game, decent game, it's not. I don't think personally it's go out and buy an Xbox for. Halo was definitely not. Halo was, again, it was an okay game, but it definitely wasn't the Halo we wanted. And even though I enjoyed it for the most part, it still wasn't something that I was like, oh my God, this is like the rejuvenation of Halo. It was like, it's another title. It's better than 4 or 5 or 5, right? Better than 5, which is that's not giving it a lot of credit if it's better than 5, because 5 sucked regardless. So, that's Microsoft's big problem right now. They need first party titles. They don't have to be exclusive to Xbox. They kind of fudged that part up. They can't really do that anymore, right? They kind of screwed the pooch on that one. But they could make some titles that only come out to Xbox and PC that people might then go, okay, I want to go buy an Xbox. Maybe they don't have a gaming PC. Gaming PCs are expensive. Not everybody can afford stuff like that or has those things. Or not everybody wants to play every game on a PC. So they might, go get an Xbox. But Xbox has got to have a reason for you to go get it. And right now, even being Xbox fans and being PlayStation fans, Nintendo fans, as fans of gaming overall, right now, like, I still play my Xbox quite often, but I can tell you that if I didn't have it and only had my PlayStation or my PC to play these games, I really wouldn't be missing out on much, right? Because I can play all these games. If I could get Game Pass for PC and play a majority of the titles on my PC, and any other third-party titles I could play on my PlayStation. I don't have to go out and buy another $500 device to play a game that maybe is only on the Xbox console, which I'm not sure if there is any that are just on Xbox console. There might be that aren't on PC. Any of those games that don't come to PC whatsoever, right? Which is very few and far between anymore. So yeah, that's the major problem, right? You have to convince people or give a reason for individuals to go out and buy your product right now. And Microsoft, unfortunately, hasn't given its consumer a reason to go buy an Xbox. Now, they've given them a reason to purchase Game Pass, right? But they haven't given them the reason to go out and buy a $500 box. So until that happens, they're going to be hurting. They need to get, and Phil Spencer has said this, right? He knows that the first party lineup has got to be strong, and their first party lineup has been pretty weak. So maybe 2024, we'll get hopefully we'll get Senua's Saga 2. Hopefully we'll get maybe Fable. Probably not, but maybe we'll hear more about Fable and some actual gameplay from it. Maybe it'll come out that year, maybe towards the end of the year or something. I know Phil Spencer said he wanted at least four first party titles or something like that to release every year. So something along those lines, 3 or 4, something like that. So if that's the case and they're good, they have to be good. They can't just release titles because they've done that and they've all
Redfield
they've all either sucked or been mediocre. See, they've got to release some high profile, really good all across the board, just like this game's phenomenal. Then people will go, hey, maybe I do need to pick up an Xbox. But right now there just isn't anything for them to do that with.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Microsoft has really done a good job of flipping the script from the last generation, which really put a lot of bad flavor in people's mouths. Gamers are picky, gamers are finicky. We make some rash decisions. When Sony announced the Xbox One, there was a lot of bad things that came with it. A lot of unwanted features, a lot of cockiness, I guess you could say. And that put a big hurt. Don Matrick really put the foo in the foo bar on Microsoft. And whoever gave Matrick the okay to go ahead and be a douche knuckle, that's on them. So that started a bad role for Microsoft. It really did. And then the dryness of first party is just unreal right now. 360 era was a great era for Microsoft. I mean, and then they butchered it. They truly butchered a lot of good faith. Because when PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, God, I hate Microsoft, and fix your freaking naming conventions. But when PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One were both announced, Microsoft, if they would have not done and said a bunch of the things that they did about the always on, shoving a Kinect up my ass, all that stuff, they would be in a lot tighter market with PlayStation. But they didn't, and now they have to try to get back all that good faith. And they're doing it. They're doing a good job of trying to get it back. It's not just the fact that you can play Xbox games on PC. It's the fact that there is no Xbox games, period, right now. I mean, it's very dry. If they could get 3 games a year, first party games, they would be basically on parity with Sony. But when Sony releases, it's quality 75, 85% of the time. I mean, Sony's first party studios are kind of like how Ubisoft used to be. When you saw the name, you knew it was good. Obviously, Ubisoft is not anymore, but Sony still is. I mean, they just are. It's even a game like Stray, which was technically isn't it on Microsoft now? I can't remember. So, but that was released originally just on PlayStation. And guess what? A game like a cat game, a game where you run around as a cat, you have no combat. You just go meow and poop on the floor. That's it. And that game is still a fantastic. It was. Nick will admit it. Pat will admit it. We all were really surprised about this cat game. That's what Sony brings. They may not bring a bunch of games, but they bring great games. And Microsoft has got to do that because when it comes to games, systems, you got to have games for them. Now, when it comes to third party, I'm only playing on Xbox. If it's on both, I'm only going to play it on Xbox. It's just the way the controller works for me, the way the controller feels, the online infrastructure I like better for Microsoft. And it's the game share is a huge part of that as well. But if you took out half of that I would still play on the Series X, the Xbox. So, but yes, it all comes down to games. You have got to get those good graces back. I mean, you pissed off a lot of people, you burnt a lot of bridges with the one, and you're not doing a great job of bringing them back. You're trying. I know you're trying, because they brought in somebody who actually, I think, has a little more caring about the gaming community than Don Matrick ever did. But still got to get games, and you're doing a good job of getting the developers. You're just not doing a good job of getting the games out. Redfall was a tragic thing, and then Starfield would have been a nail in the coffin if they foobarred it. But Starfield it's not quite what I would call a niche game, because it is by Bethesda, but Bethesda has a following. Starfield is a new IP. But people were burned by Redfall, so only the Bethesda fans really jumped in on Starfield. And I'm not as hard on it as Nick. I really enjoyed the game overall, but it is not a system seller. It's not. It's just not, because you could buy it on your damn PC. So they need to fix that. They need to get those games out. And if they can get 3 games a year of at least a B quality, that's a step in the right direction. And they've got an ass ton of studios, so there's really no reason they could not get 3 a year. I mean, they just bought Activision Blizzard. And if Activision could spit a damn game out, the same game out every year and sell billions of copies, they should be able to do it under Microsoft's banner. So, but it is what it is. And unfortunately, Microsoft there's no way to catch up. They're not even going to come close to second place for this generation. What they need to do is they need to finish this generation strong by starting to get those games out there, building up that confidence with their player base. And then when next gen comes through, you wait for Sony to say our next system is $599. You come in and say we're $399. There's no bull. And the Series S is killing you. The Series S is also killing you, because parity is killing you. Parity is hurting your development. So sorry. I love the ideal of it, but not when it's killing the overall game atmosphere for your consoles. But that's me. That's my feelings. Do you disagree? Do you disagree? Do you disagree?
No, I mean, I agree. The only thing I don't agree on is that games have to be at least B tier. I think the games have to be home runs. They have to be A.
I think yes, you're right to a point. I think you gotta at least hit the B's. They're not hitting B's. They're barely hitting C's.
But they need to hit.
But they do need that killer.
All
they do
4
need
cylinders,
Yeah. No, you're right. They definitely need to have those killer apps. Senua Saga, the original one, was one of the most graphically impressive games. Audio was even more impressive than the graphics. The game was fantastic. I mean, from combat to storyline to characters, it's just an amazing game. If you have not played it, play it. Plain and simple, play it. The sequel has me extremely worried, because it was announced like 6 freaking years ago. And the original was, to me, an A+ game, no problem. If this one isn't, that's on Microsoft. They they got to do something. To me, I look at game development. If you own game developers, you have to look at it as raising a child. Give them a little room, but you got to hold that hand sometimes too. You got to have a nice balance. And most importantly, quality control. Let somebody play it outside of your world. Let them give you some feedback. Somebody in the gaming world, but somebody outside of your development studio. Let them try it out. Say, hey, you know what? This is great, but I think if you did this with your controls, or you did this with your story, or you did this with your main villain, or whatever, I think they need a little more mom and dad time. But yeah, you're right
Yep.
though. They definitely need to have that homer.
Yeah, they need to have a few homers. If they have a few homers, I mean, it's okay to release some B tiers once in a while if you're knocking it out of the park most of the time. But if you're not even like, if you're just hitting foul balls,
yeah,
and then you hit, you know, a ball into the outfield, and you call that a win.
Yeah,
I don't know baseball, but I try to do my best with my analogies.
Yeah, and then when everybody jumps up and yells "goal,"
yeah, and then hot dog,
hot dog. but yeah, the Microsoft they're trying. You know, they're trying. They're like that one.
I'll give
them
an A+ for trying. They are definitely trying.
Yeah, but the quality of work is definitely on the non-A side. You know, they need to do it. They just need, and they have great IPs and they have great developers. Just what are they doing? You know, and I'm worried that they're going to flash flood their market with really quality games. They're going to end up saying, all right, you know, all our developers are right here right now with this stuff. So we're going to end up with a Fable. We're going to end up with a new 007 or a Perfect Dark. We're going to end up with the next Gears. And it's all going to be just boom, 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 you know, within months of each other. That's really hard for gamers to handle, especially when there's PlayStation, Nintendo dropping, you know, their first party games. So it's going to have to be really monitored. So, but
yeah, they got to make sure to spread it out.
Yeah, they don't need to. If you're gonna hit them one after another, you got to have a month between any game that's more than 10 hours. That's just the way I see it, because that gives me time to complete it. Because a 10-hour game could still take me 2 weeks with the way my life goes. So, you know, and plus there's other games that we want to play. So they really got to think about that. But they're never going to catch up, plain and simple. Never going to come close to second place, even. I mean, Nintendo's kicking your ass with a handheld, you know, Sony or Samsung Galaxy 3 phone. I mean, you're getting your butt kicked. So, you got anything else?
No.
All right. Well, calm down. I'll finish this. All right. So, let us know what you think. Sony is Sony so far ahead in this generation because of just games alone? Is Microsoft so far behind because they have no games at all? And is Nintendo they got that adorable little mascot? That's why they're in second. Let us know what you think. Why is Microsoft, you know, getting their butt handed to them? Give us your opinions and thoughts on all the good stuff. But don't forget, subscription, notifications, and we'll see you later. See ya.
Hot dog.